Good morning, everyone. KJ here. Today is the 13th anniversary of the September 11 attack on this beautiful United States of America. My thoughts want to go to some kind of dark place. It's been 13 years and, have we gotten any better as humanity? I really want to go down this road, y'all, or do I? I think the real point really comes down to when we see all of the things that we see that humans do to one another. Are we going to live in a depression about it? And I can speak for me. Am I going to be all depressed and just disappointed and frustrated over the whole freaking world and the way that it has done since I've been alive, since you've been alive? Good morning, Jennifer Cheney, Just Me, Tara Deepa, Jill Schneider, Jennifer Cheney, Beach Lady, good morning. Coffee and a cig is better with KJ, says Jennifer. Nettie says good morning. So I put a post on the community wall basically reminding myself, and I'm sure other people already knew, that today was the September 11th anniversary. And I've given it some thought. What do you say over something like that other than the most earnest and heartfelt thing about these victims' family members, the struggles that they have going on now to this day? Some really, really warm comments on the community wall from some of y'all. Also, some of y'all, shared where you were at when the planes hit the Twin Towers and the Pentagon, or at least trying to do everything that was done there. And I want so much to be able to say, that was 13 years ago, and, we haven't had any more planes in buildings and, things of that sort. And maybe the United States has beefed up its security and all that. But really, the underlying issue for me is all of these things that we ourselves have been through in our lives that were devastating to us. Some have the trauma of losing a loved one through murder. Others have other traumas about other things that's happened to them. And when that gets triggered, whether it's through an anniversary or if it's a loss of a loved one or whatever it is, the only thing that I hope for myself is that, yes, it's sad. Yes, it makes me feel like a little child, out in a field walking away from a friend at their house and having to turn around and wave back and wanting so desperately to go back and play with that friend, but I got to go home. I don't know if that makes sense to y'all, but it's that feeling of wanting to hold on to that, because whether it was a good feeling in our life or a bad feeling in our life, it reminds me that I still have those sad moments, those devastating moments. And should I sit and bitch and complain and whine and regurgitate and wallow in things that have traumatized me or hurt me in my life? Make no mistake, y'all, September 11th changed at least people in this country, and I know there are a lot of people in other countries that felt sorrow over the event as well. It's hard to say, well, we should have a celebration of the lives of these people that were lost on 9/11 when such devastation and evil has happened, right? Nettie says, I would have had an 11-year-old daughter today. Good morning, Nicole. Good morning, 1979 ACR. Yes, it happened September 11th of 2001, Beach Lady. And I remember where I was at, and I'm sure many of y'all remember where you were at. But again, I want to get to these other things that I know that was a major national, I believe, a worldly event that should have never happened. It was evil. It was wrong. There was so many innocent victims, so much heroics in fire and EMS and police and all that. We saw a lot of heroes. But I'm talking about your own personal life. Things that have happened in your life that you know it's coming. You know, oh, next week it's the anniversary of this or that, or it's fall time and this bad thing happened in fall. Or this holiday's coming up and I'm dreading it. How am I supposed to get through these things? Obviously, I do a lot of praying, meditating. But folks, the bottom line is even then, sometimes it's just, I got to feel it, you know. I just got to feel it. Jennifer Cheney says, I was in Tucson, Arizona at the time. It was so scary. I believe someone on the community wall thought it was the end of the world. And how many times in my life have I said those words? It just feels like the end of the world. And the world didn't end, but it felt like it. And by the way, how was I supposed to know what the end of the world feels like? The feelings that OKJ has need to be vented out, acknowledged. They don't always have to feel good. Most of the time they're uncomfortable feelings with my depression and everything. A 1979 ACR says, I'm dreading October 31st. That's when I lost my mom. Humble Traveler says, bless those poor souls. Well, that's where hope comes in, y'all. I don't know of all these people that perished in 9/11. I don't know where their hearts were spiritually. Their hearts didn't have to line up with what I believe at all. But my hope is they are in the everlasting arms of God Almighty. That's my hope. Ann Gibson said, I had the police in my house taking a statement as I had been at work. We had a robbery. My eldest came in the room and told me to switch on the TV. It was unreal and real at the same time. Now, look at that, y'all. Ann Gibson's talking about something major was going on in her personal life in the moments leading up to finding out about 9/11. Everybody's story is different. Katie Cat says, I feel like for me, I say a prayer for the families in our country, but I struggle with thinking maybe it's not right to let it continue to traumatize. It's just so sad that happened. I feel the same way, Katie. If every time, think about the news headlines. Think about everything we read and how devastating it is. Are we supposed to just crumble to the ground every time? No, we should feel those feelings. We should say a prayer for whatever the situation. But what good is it doing OKJ to say, you know what? All this stuff is happening in the world. All these terrible, evil things are happening in this world. What the hell? Just to hell with it. I'm going to feel bad for the rest of my days, folks. It's a waste of time. It's not going to help the situation. Don't get me wrong. If we see terrible things on social media or in news headlines or things that happen to us and we become numb, we need to check ourselves. I need to check myself. I can't speak for y'all. But it's all about, you're handling it, you're accepting it. There's no way not to accept it. I mean, there's people that go in denial when they lose a loved one or something terrible happens. They just can't. And I think it's a way for them emotionally to protect themselves at first. I don't think there's anything wrong with that initial denial. But at some point, you have to come to that realization of what's in front of your face. Deal with the trauma of it. And one of the greatest ways for OKJ is just, okay, yes, I've accepted it. This is what's happened. Rita Mays Resale says it was an indescribable feeling, had been to the towers many times, total shock for quite a while. And Rita, it's just that human, loving, caring part of us, the stable part of OKJ that tries to see things pretty much cut and dry when it comes to what people do. It still bothers me to this day, even though I've educated myself and researched over what happened in the Chad and Lori Daybell case. It still bothers me. But with it bothering me and hurting my heart, I just refuse to allow it to overcome me and say, well, if that shit's going on in this world to those precious children, to Tammy, Charles, possibly Joe, I see the hurt of the victim's family members on top of it all. I'm just going to say the hell with it. I'm going to just be miserable because of what? There's nothing wrong with feeling sadness. There's nothing wrong with feeling anger. There's nothing wrong with feeling heartbreak. It's just not staying stuck in it. Good morning, Stephanie Willa. Jennifer Cheney says, I struggle with sadness at times, but thank God I haven't lost hope. Good morning, Vicki McNutt. Nicole says, hugs and prayers to all of you with hard days coming up. Dee Dee Sunshine says, good day. Feel the feel, it is okay. Just don't live in them. Figure out what you can do to change even one little thing to make your world and others' worlds better, says Kathy Mama Bear. Jennifer Cheney says, I may cry 1 minute, but thank Jesus I laugh and rejoice the next. Yes, ma'am. Yes, I remember that, Just Me. We did come together on September 11th. The country came together. They put all their squabbling crap, political crap aside. Americans joined together, all of us. There wasn't no division. And it's real easy for me to shit all over that moment that felt so good and united by saying, where is it today? Where have we, what? We have a memorial on September the 11th. We'll have one. I'm sure y'all see them on the news. Those moments, which rightly so, there should be a memorial every time that something bad happens. But folks, it's a lot like a simple example of here in Tennessee, maybe it's the same in other states too. When somebody is in a car accident on a rural road or whatever, and they die, the family usually puts something up on the side of the road, like a little cross or some kind of little shrine there, and it's a reminder that that person died there. I want to say that person's having that there where people can see it will remind them that if you're not careful on the road, this could happen to you. And also, it allows people to at least wonder who that person was that passed away, who had gotten in that car accident. Good morning, Ramona Fisley. Good morning, Mom Jeans. I want to thank all of y'all that answered the community wall post there about Coffee with KJ. The reason I asked about content is because, just as I've always said, when we started it, I really don't have anything pre-planned other than I try to be more disciplined on Fridays. And I felt like, well, if it was all about me just jabbing on, maybe other people got ideas that they want to talk about. And that's why I put that question out there. NF Mom says our church had a first responder appreciation cookout this time of year. We honor and pray for and feed our local police, military, EMT, search and rescue, and state patrol and sheriff's department. They are so honored. That's wonderful, NF Mom. That shows the kind of community you live in. That's really very heartwarming. What would you do if when he sex was to you? I don't understand that question. Good morning, Melissa Krantz. So, yes, today is September 11th, and it's been 13 years. And it's a reminder to me. I mean, I can't get away from this whole idea of, am I going to focus in and say this is what September was all about? It's about these crazy ass terrorists here that did this to all these innocent people. Or am I, which is one thing and it's a fact. They did. And I can stay angry. I can stay very sad. Or I can also, because I have to look at the whole picture. I can't just not think of them. But I believe that all the people that perished in 9/11, they have stories, and they've been put out there time and time again and will continue to. It's sad that their story ends that way, but there's a lot of hope in people's stories, even though they are not with us here on earth, which this dovetails into. If you've lost someone you love, it's real easy for me to stay depressed over the loss of my mother, or I can start to acknowledge that, of course, she's not here, and I feel the loss, but all the beautiful, wonderful things that she represented, and focus on those things. 2001, yeah, I guess you're right, y'all. I don't know where I got the number 13. Maybe I need to drink a little more coffee. Sorry about that, y'all. Jennifer Cheney says September 1st was my 30 years married. Well, happy anniversary, Jennifer. Where in the hell did I get 13, y'all? It's crazy. My mind's not working. Ann Gibson says, so let's ask the question, why do these therapists also involve their religious beliefs when dealing with patients. I thought they were to be impartial. Well, and Gibson, it all depends on what therapist you're going to go to. Most of the time, people that are deeply religious, they're going to want to go to some like-minded therapist. I believe someone said something to the effect that if you can put the religious aspect aside and that's what you want, if that therapist is super religious and you say, I don't want God brought into this, let's just talk about things that have nothing to do with religion, they're supposed to respect you in that. But I see where you're going with this. It is a person's choice on who they want to go see, and unless that person's hiding the fact that they're going to take you in a room and lay you down on a couch and fill your head full of religious stuff, whether it's stuff you even believe in. You've got to figure it out. It's almost like, there's a such thing as getting a second opinion. People make a conscious decision to go see a therapist, whether they're referred to them or they check them out themselves and know all about them before they walk in the door. Mom Jean says it's not ethical to impose personal values and religious beliefs in their treatment. There are therapists out here, y'all, that are attached to all different kinds of religions. And their whole modus operandi is to line everything up with religion. And these people walk in their eyes wide open with that. Is this what happened with Ruby and Jody there? I don't know. I think Jody is a wannabe cult leader, to be honest with you. But nobody should go in. I mean, if you're in that bad a shape that you go to see a therapist that you don't know much about, and you get in there and realize that they're doing this to you, you have this option. You can say, well, thank you for your time, but I'm walking out the door, and I'll go find someone else. That's the whole situation right there. Now, what does this say for people that are more weak-minded? How can someone who's more weak-minded go into a therapist's office for the very first time and be able to be under someone's spell right from the get-go? I guess it's possible. And I guess it's possible for someone to be good enough as a therapist, if they've got enough deviant behavior, to try to control the situation. It's my understanding that therapists are not supposed to control shit, but I think it's all supposed to be some kind of organic process that goes on. Yes, there should be these guidelines through the DSM and all that, and maybe some curriculum that is tried and true. My idea of a good therapist is someone that you go into the room and when you start talking, they answer you with why. Why? To get you to continue to talk, because that's what therapists should do. Should this Jody Hillebrand be finding stuff out about her patients and then using that against them? That right there, she needs a good kick in her ass. That's very unethical. Behind me, it's always a cat. If you're ever wondering what the noises are, it's the cats wanting in because I'm their valet. I'm the one that lets them in and out the doors. I train them that way, and then I want to complain about it. Jill Schneider, I've never really wanted to go the moderator route. This channel's not staying open forever. It's a little itty bitty channel. If somebody wants to come on here and show their ass, I guess they will. I've always said you can ignore them, block them, or report them. Ramona Fisley says, stay in your moment. Be thankful for your good fortune throughout your lifetime. Sugarbutt Starburst says, I don't mind my therapist being a Christian. It really helps me. Yeah, Jennifer Cheney, we don't have kitty litter boxes in the house. The cats love it outdoors. Would someone please click on that and report it so that they can get if enough people report it, they'll get kicked off of YouTube and then they'll have to go and create another name. Okay. Love you. You want to say hi to everybody?
Hello, everybody.
Mr. Wayne says hello. Lift your cup. Wish them all a good coffee time.
Good time for coffee this morning.
I'll see you after a while, baby. I love you. Thank you, Beach Lady. Thank you, Siggy D09. Thank you, Eric Jasper. They're all saying hello, Wayne. Y'all just touched my heart. Y'all been so accepting of Wayne and my family. It just absolutely feels like an overflowing fountain of love. Thank y'all so much for being so kind. Y'all are the best of the best. I don't say that for nothing. I've been around long enough on this channel to know that when I say you're the best of the best, I mean it with all my heart. Yes, Kathy Mama Bear, I do accept Mr. Tom. He will always be my Valentine. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Well, I love all of y'all, Michelle Flanagan. You know, sometimes I think, I think to myself, am I going to be able to move? Am I going to continue to move forward, seeking justice through understanding, waiting on pretrial? Should I just shut down the channel a little while until things start to pick up? And then I think, wait a minute, I can't do that. There's too many people that I love too much that I want to stay connected with. That would be just, it'd be cold. It wouldn't be right, and it's definitely not me. Eric says, anytime you need to do one with Mr. Wayne, good old coffee and chat doubled. You're awesome people, says Eric Jasper. Thank you, Eric. It's very sweet. I'm going to tell you what, Ann Gibson, I think we got a mirror going on here, because there are times I feel like, I feel lost if I'm not reading y'all's comments. I know that sounds kind of silly to y'all. It's not 100% like that for me, but there's a part of me it's like, I just got to know what they're doing. I got to know what they're saying, because I respect you and I care for you, and that's why it's like, this is what we got, y'all. It's a world inside of a world. We're on social media. It's what we've got. It's what we got to deal with. What is a possay tree? Possay tree. Me, it's me. I don't know what that is. Well, you've been a good friend to me, Teresa. Ariel, I'm a little biased when it comes to Mr. Wayne. I think he's a little hunk. Well, thank you, Eric. I really appreciate that. And listen, y'all, I'm very conscientious. There are times that I do need to step away. It's not got anything to do with any of y'all. It's just, I've got other things going on, or my mind's not in it. I'm not just going to come on a dang live stream or do a pre-record or anything just to be doing it. There's always a reason behind it. There's always a purpose behind what I do. And if I don't have a purpose, and I think, should I do a live stream? Should I do a pre-record? And I don't feel it, then I don't do it. But back to this realization that we see each and every day. And there's some of these things are more extreme than others. 9/11 was as bad as it gets. The murder case with Chad and Lori Daybell, that's as bad as it gets. The most notorious serial killers that I believe it. I mean, some of y'all might pipe in there and say, no, Ted Bundy, or, you know, all these other serial killers, these notorious people and stuff. Nothing to me in my lifetime will ever be as bad as what happened in Idaho there, in Arizona. Jennifer, just y'all sharing yourself with me it makes me very happy. Makes me very, I don't know, I feel blessed. Good morning, Sugar Mom. Good morning, Dee Dee Bajagard. I hope I'm not saying that wrong. Jennifer, y'all taught me a lot. All of y'all. Every single one of you. To one degree or another. But this idea that OKJ is going to focus in on all of these negative, terrible things that go on each and every day. Every time I read a news headline, I have to catch myself sometimes, because I'm like, I'll read a terrible headline and I won't even stop to think about it. It's like I just go from there to the next one. 1 minute they're talking about murdering somebody, and the next minute, the next news headline talks about a new flavor of ice cream. It's like we're just supposed to be so numb to all of this. And I refuse to be numb to it. I don't want to walk through my life paranoid, and I don't want to walk through my life depressed over the fact that there's some assholes out here that want to ruin it for everybody else. Rita Mays Resale says, I've had 2 family members murdered. You learn over years to live with it and keep their memories with you. You never get over it. And so the terrible things that happen, the fact that it's 9/11, I will stop and think about what that day meant to me and to my family and to society and to my community, to humanity and the world. I just choose that as we've gotten a little distance from it and it has become an anniversary, that some good things have come from it. Many, many stories, true stories of people. There was one I was reading earlier. This woman went through 4 bouts of cancer since it all, and she's gotten better and everything. And there's all these wonderful, wonderful people out here that have to step in the space of this whole event and say it was terrible, it was awful, we mourn the people that died. But here I am to tell you what happened personally in my life. That was a good thing that happened, that came from all of this. Because make no mistake, y'all, I'm not ignorant in that I know for a fact, no matter what bad things befall humanity, God is faithful, God is just. He will always there will always something good come out of it. Some might say, well, why does something good come out of bad? Why can't we just get rid of all the bad, folks? It's impossible. Evil's here on earth. This is just my opinions. You can say lawlessness if you don't want to look at it with the word evil. It's never going to get better. It's just not. So I say to myself, what would God want me to do about these things? It's September 11th. This is just another year of me realizing it's just reaffirming it over and over again. There's some crazy people out here in the world, and all these innocent people die. On top of it all, I see news headline after news headline that tells me that all these terrible, awful things are being done. Humans are destroying humans. And let's not get started on how humans treat animals like dogs and cats and pets and things. It's my understanding that one of the red flags of an evil psychopathic person is, the way they treat their animals, treat their pets. I mean, it's awful. Jennifer says, God, what can I do today to make a difference? I pray for us all. There you go. Maisie is celebrating her 60th. Is it your anniversary or your birthday? Either way it goes, congratulations. Show love to somebody, says Donna Donham. That's absolutely the quintessential simplistic truth right there. Just show love to somebody. In the way that you know how to do it. Even if they don't know that you're showing the love. If you know in your heart that you're showing love to somebody, does it really matter that they know that you love them? Huh? It should, but in another way, sometimes people take things wrong. Or people don't see it. There's a lot of people walking around that are numb, y'all. Gokito Edit says you should love everybody no matter who they are. A friend of mine is out of work and is now dancing for gays on the internet. His dad found out and is threatening to kick him out of the house. He's not gay, by the way. Any advice? Well, I guess it all comes down to, first of all, I guess, is he an adult? And adults have a right to do whatever they want to do. They're the ones that's got to live their lives. It's sad that there are so many, I mean, you name it, it's infinite reasons why families end up fighting and splitting apart. To me, that's evil's goal, is to split families apart. And when I say family, family doesn't necessarily mean just blood. It means the people in your life that love you and accept you for who you are. No matter what. No matter what. So that's a sad situation. I don't know that I've even really given any advice on that. What I can say is this person probably loves their father or whatever, and that's a sad thing. But there are people today that I don't get along with within my own family since my mother's death that has nothing to do with dancing or gay or anything like that. And I'm in this terrible heart-wrenching situation with family members. So what do I have to do? Regardless of the environment that caused it, I've got to stay true in my own heart to myself in a humble and selfless way. Not out to hurt anybody, not out to want to make anyone else uncomfortable, but by goodness, if I'm going to do something that I know in my heart is not supposedly, my whole motive there isn't to hurt anyone and they get hurt, all I can do is say, hey, my motive is not to hurt you, cause you any stress, cause you any heartbreak, cause you any of this. This is me. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And most importantly, always, I will always, as uncomfortable as people decide they get away from me, they don't want to be around me anymore, I say it to this day, I love them still. And I will continue to love. Even if they don't understand what I'm doing, even if they don't like what I'm doing, I've got to live my life. I've got to live it. And that includes doing things to better myself, and that includes making mistakes and falling on my face and getting right back up and moving forward still. KKB says, I'm canning garden goodies this morning. Ooh. What kind of garden goodies is that, KKB? There's just a lot of, you got these devastating planes going into the towers there, the Pentagon, those people over there in that Pennsylvania field. All these people, all this terrible stuff happened. It's so extreme. And yet there is every day, a subtleness throughout everyone's day, whether you're looking what other people's doing, whatever's going on in your own life, where there's always someone there that's going to hurt you, or you're going to hurt someone else. Maybe it's intentional, maybe it's not. If we add up all the times that OKJ intentionally went out here and I lied to somebody, or I was mean to somebody, and yes, I have, y'all. I can confess that. I can confess the things that I've done in my life. And I added all that together. I could, if I really stopped and thought about it, how many people's lives did I destroy over my own actions? And is the word destroy too strong of a word? Maybe disrupt, or maybe just absolutely destroyed the relationship. Time and time again, it's happened with me. I lived in a pattern for years of self-destructive behavior. It got to the point near the end there, before I said, the hell with this, I don't want to live in this self-destructive behavior anymore, that I could see it coming. I could see the echoes of it. I could say, well, this is a totally different subject, but I can see where this is going because I am self-destructive. And even being aware of my self-destructive behavior back then, I was still doing it. Have a great day, Billy. Jennifer Esslinger says, I clearly remember thinking, who hates America this much? Well, I'll tell you, I think a lot of people probably thought that. And I can almost understand that feeling and emotion and the spiritual reality of saying that out loud. Y'all know I've got my own beliefs. I guarantee you. Evil hates anything good. Is America good? No. I mean, America's good. The concept of America is good. This is just my view. But a lot of stuff in America happens that is not wholesome and wonderful and innocent. And other cultures, they look at it, and heck, we've been called by other countries the Great Satan. My view is who am I? I mean, I can disagree with that, but everybody has a right to think and feel the way they want to feel. It's just when they cross that line and decide to start taking out people and doing terrorist attacks. Or if you want to scale that back and say, just because I feel the way I do about a certain person or this or that, do I have a right to hurt them, destroy them, destroy the relationship? there's good news and there's bad news in all aspects of life, always. The good news about September 11th is it brought a country together and a lot of people in the world together. It made us see right clearly. You see it demonstrated, the evilness, the terrible destructive nature of it. So to be able to see that, I mean, I wished it would have never happened, but it happened. So you have to be able to take that and say, you know, I can't wrap my mind around why someone would do that and kill all those people. Well, it's not about us wrapping our mind around what some evil ass person does out here. It's about taking what they've done, accepting that it has happened, and saying what good can come out of that. And the bad news is there are people today that do not want to stop to find any good. That's just an opinion. Eric said, I thought a pilot was off course and then immediately saw the second one hit while I was watching it and knew then. This is about to get real bad real fast. We are under attack. And folks, I hate to be the one to tell you this. This is my opinion. But we are being attacked every single day from something. Not as extreme as a plane going into a building, but we're being attacked, and it could even come. KJ could attack myself, get down on myself, wallow in my clinical depression, get back into my self-destructive behaviors, make stupid ass decisions. That's an attack on myself, really. Especially being 52 years old and knowing that I've been around the block for a while. I don't know everything, but I know I sure as hell know not to stick your finger on a hot stove, and that's a metaphor. Good morning, Bonita Rainey. Shannon Commit says, maybe God's message is to appreciate everything we have. That's a good thing to say, Shannon. And there are a lot of things that God has blessed me with in terms of not having. There are things that if I had those things would make me worse. I've always told Wayne, I'm like, if I won a $2 billion lottery or whatever, it would destroy me. It would not. There would be nothing humble and healthy about OKJ having billions of dollars. Some of y'all might disagree with that. Some of y'all might be like, no, I'd be all right with all that money. But folks, corruption happens, and I have to watch myself, because if I'm not careful, I could get corrupted. I've had plenty of past examples where I've corrupted myself. I've attacked myself. And I might down the road, who knows? Prince James says, I'm always waking up screaming at demons through my blanket. I have zero peace and no goals, and I live in Australia, and I'm feeling low. Well, Prince James, you might want to start researching night terrors. It's good if you're experiencing these things not that you're experiencing them, but that you can put a label, and I don't even like to use the word label, but a reality. KJ has night terrors on and off. I suffer from PTSD. There have been times that KJ has woken up in the middle of the night, freaking out. Mr. Wayne's had to calm me down. I honestly can only say this, that if you seek, you will find. If you knock, the door will be open, whatever route that door takes you into. For me, it's the Holy Bible, it's Holy Scripture. It might not be that for you. But I promise you this, okay? I promise you that you are not alone. And some people have it even worse than you. And I don't know, I'm not saying that to make you feel better. I'm trying to be real with you. That must be a terrible, wretched place to be. I can only speak from my own experience. But sometimes it helps to research and try to see if some of the symptoms that you're getting are maybe, I've sought professional help, or at least talk to somebody in a circle of support, someone I trust, just to be able to air that out. My grandmother or grandma has PTSD because of a group of guys who attacked her 50 years ago in New York. Well, Alextrox, mine was in 2007. Okay, so you talking about triggers? I've got them. Certain smells, certain visual cues, and then sometimes everything's just fine and dandy. And I go to bed at night and I'll wake up with a night terror, but it's not all the time. It used to be all the time. Now it's gotten a little less, but it could pick up again because sometimes those things are triggered from other environmental things that have nothing to do with PTSD or what happened to me. Sometimes it's just not eating right, or, maybe I'm getting a little more anxiety than usual. Those things, or things happen in my family life, or maybe I'm ingesting too much social media. That's been a big one for me. Might not be for others though. Electrox, that's so sad to hear. That is so sad to hear. I know there's some kind of, I don't know, I'm not a professional, y'all. I'm just an old country girl from Tennessee. That's all I am. I don't have any answers for nobody. All I can do is just talk about what, but sometimes people, like me, for instance, and I'm not comparing myself to your grandma, don't get me wrong. There's sometimes I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to leave. I just want to be a homebody. I don't want to go anywhere. And the thought of doing that actually gives me anxiety. It puts me in a shitty mood to think I've got to go do this or I got to go do that. – 103 years old. Wow. Beach Lady, if any of y'all would like to report these trolls, if more than one person does it, they will get kicked off, and then they'll have to go through the whole process of creating another name. And if they do, it's attached to the one where they were blocked, and they won't get back on YouTube. I know how it works. I've done talked to, trust me, y'all, I get attacked every damn day on YouTube. It's just I choose to erase a lot of these messages because I don't think that the Rays deserve to have to see that kind of slime. Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate that. Thank you, 1979 ACR. Thank you, Beach Lady. Thank you, Rita Mays Resale. I really appreciate it. Yeah, and they can be blocked, they can be blocked. I always say ignore it, block it, or report it. I find better results when they're reported. That way, when they do get taken off of there, they have to go through all that process. And YouTube knows where their account is. And they're sitting there creating a new one, a new ghost account. They'll finally get the picture there. Somper, we really don't really talk about a whole lot of a particular content on Coffee with KJ. I did start out this morning discussing 9/11, this being the anniversary of 9/11, and how, when we stop to reflect about it, well, at least I stopped to reflect. It would be so easy for me to say, well, really, what has gotten better? Look what humanity's done to humanity. And I could absolutely go into the depths of my own depression and say, the hell with it. What do I have a reason at all to get up here on this live stream and talk a bunch of niceties? I mean, we got all this shit going on in the world, murdering and all this terrible crime going on. But folks, as I sit here in this chair on my side porch, and the trees are out here, and I hear the birds and my little fountain here, nobody's in my yard murdering me at the moment. Nobody's doing anything to me right this moment. And do I really want to choose to sit in this chair on this beautiful Monday and go down this whole laundry list that's never ending about the terrible ills of the world? I want to stay educated about it. I want to stay cautious about it. But I don't want to be paranoid, and I don't want to shit all over my day because of all the stuff that's going on in the world. I choose to think about all the brave men and women who helped many people survive 9/11. And I choose to think about the family members today who lost their loved ones, the loved ones that were lost in all of this, and the fact that they had stories that had, not all of them, but a lot of them's come out in the news about who these people were, how they were wonderful lights to the world, how they've done so many wonderful things. We are not promised today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. I have a personal responsibility for my life to be the best person I can be. One of you said it. Just love other people and just love them in the way that you can. And even if that other person doesn't know that's what you're trying to do. That's the best that anyone could ever do, is just love others. Just be kind. And how many times has old KJ just been kind and been met with freaking visceral hatred and anger and attacks? Oh, well, it's not about them. It's not about them and their crappy reactions to me trying to be a caring person. And it's not about me either. It's about the whole state of the world. The world needs more love, y'all. And yes, that's a lyric in a song. I can't figure out which one that is right now, but you know what I mean. Well, Jennifer, you've always demonstrated being a caring, loving person. So you already learned that before you probably even met any of us. Hey, Simcast, what you cooking up these days? Rita May says, kindness costs nothing. You never know what burden someone is carrying with them. It's a great point, Rita May. You know, I guarantee y'all, there are people out here that think they've got their, you look at them, you're like, wow, they got their shit together. They look so happy. Look at their life. Y'all, for goodness sake. This 8 passengers for 5 years on YouTube, 2.5 million subscribers, perfectly primed and everything else. Everything looks so, their discipline was, it was controversial, but just their everyday life. They lived in a beautiful house, all this stuff. Look where it's led them. You cannot judge a book by its cover. Read the damn book. Get to know people, if they'll let you. And for, everyone that you want to get to know and they won't let you any further than they will, just think of it as a blessing that they've even given you, that moment, or just the smile or the handshake. It's better than being met with a freaking gun and I'm going to rob your ass, or I'm just going to kill you because I'm a freaking psychopath. I mean, for goodness sake, y'all, we've got two extremes going on here. We can meet in the middle. We can meet and in the middle and at least exhibit the honest, the earnestness, even if it's met with the opposite of that, which is deception and evil. Because I guarantee you, y'all, when the rubber meets the pavement, we're all gonna die. And that's not a negative thing. We're all gonna die. Okay? That's part of life. Life is death and death is life. Just give it your best shot. And please don't get discouraged when you do. And you've probably already been practicing this. Most everyone on here, and this is just my view, are loving, caring people. And you probably, I mean, just because I say it don't mean I'm saying, okay, now you need to do it. No, you've probably been doing it for a while. You've probably been doing it your whole damn life. How many times have I done it and got shitty ass results from other people? Well, it wasn't about what was I supposed to get out of that. What was I supposed to get out of loving this person or giving them a smile or shaking their hand? What was that? Common civility, I would think, but anything further from that? That's not for me. I mean, if it's all about what I'm going to get out of something, it wasn't real in the first place. It wasn't real in the first place because it can't be about what am I going to get out of it. People could be sad and depressed and stuck in a dark, lonely place, but when God puts KJ in your path, be thankful and humble and know God truly loves you. Jennifer, honey, God has put you in people's paths. God has put every one of y'all in someone's paths, even those on here that don't believe in God. He loves you regardless. I mean, that's just my view. And let's just look at that. If you don't have any, if you're an atheist, agnostic, you can still apply this stuff. Just be kind. Just show love. Alextrox says, I have 5 brothers. One of them died from a guy with a knife. Well, Alextrox, I had a brother who was shot right here in Rowan County, Kentucky, between the eyes, rolled up in plastic, put in a trunk of a car, drove around for 10 plus days before the guy that shot him and killed him, his girlfriend, got freaked out because she could smell my brother decomposing and went to her parents, and her parents went to the police, and this guy's got 25 years to life. There are terrible things that happen to people, but I'm just going to say it. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Might seem like an old, wore-out thing to say, but it's not. We can let it engulf us, and I can go back in here, take my dang robe off, get in the bed. It's September 11th today. The world's going to hell in a handbasket. I'm not going to have any good day today, even though it's a beautiful day out. I'm sitting here, breathing in and out. My heart is pumping. I'm still alive, by goodness. And Electrox, there are people in prison today that are good people. I'm not saying all of them, but there are good people. And there are innocent people in prison as well. That goes all the way back to Holy Scripture. There were plenty of God-fearing, loving, caring, innocent people that went to prison in the Holy Bible. It didn't belong there. John the Baptist, he got his head chopped off. A good man. You have to remember they would want you to get up and go on, says Rita Mae's Resale. It's the only thing you can do. And, I mean, no, it really isn't, Rita Mae. It's really not the only thing that people do. Although your advice there is really good advice. There are people that make a conscious decision that they see all this going on around them in their own personal life or out here in the world, and they say, the hell with this. They get into a deep depression. I'm speaking to me too. I've been down this road. I've lived it. I could live it tomorrow. But I've got to at least say it out loud to help myself, give myself a chance. This fake it till you make it stuff. I'm on the freaking line on that, because sometimes you do have to do self-affirmational stuff in order to, this is going to be a beautiful day. I'm so happy to be alive. Things could be worse, but thank God I'm here. And so forth and so forth. Even though those are factual things, the bottom line is I'm not feeling it, but if I say it out loud, faking it till you make it, or acting as if, it sure beats that habitual thing going on there telling me, the hell with this world, the hell with everybody, I don't give a shit about nothing or nobody. Because that can happen. Oh, KJ, if I'm not careful. It's a terrible place to be. It's a terrible place to be when you realize the enormity of the evil on this planet, or the shit that's going on in my life that is not good, the enormity of it, and then say, well, I think I'll just take that right there and I'm going to live it out today and waste my day away. It's just a shitty day, right? So, let me just say this. It's okay to be disturbed, upset, enraged, angry, all those things. It just, you can't live in it. I can't live in it. I think, I believe it was the last time I was on Krishna's live stream. Y'all know how I get riled up and all that. And I was on her live stream and stuff, and I got riled up. I mean, it was about child abuse and all this other stuff, you know, that's really disturbing. And someone in the comments says, why does she yell? That is so disturbing. And I thought to myself, here we are talking about child abuse, child murder, and this person wants to put in there, why is this woman yelling? That is so disturbing. They have a right to feel that way, right? But it's just weird to me that I say what I say in whatever tone I'm going to say it about these terrible topics that we've all talked about. Y'all, we've talked about some really, really awful things. And yet it is disturbing that I raise my voice about it. What am I supposed to be? Calm, cheerful, soothing? I'm supposed to put everybody to comfort level there over child abuse and child murder. Give me a break. Maybe some other people can, and maybe they're used to that. Well, that's not how I roll. Right, Jill? And honestly, though, how is anybody supposed to be when we're discussing the topics we are, especially if you want to generally speak about the true crime genre community? You know, who am I or anyone else? Everyone else has a right to think and comment, do whatever they want to do. That should be respected. All I say is I'm not disrespecting that comment. I'm just, I'm scratching my head about it. I'm on the fence about why that is. Eric Jasper wants to know what are my thoughts on the entities in charge of keeping a lot of these kids safe, but they absolutely don't. If you're talking about the Department of Children's Services, if you're talking about law enforcement, the fact that in the Ruby and Jody case, CPS was called several times in the last year or so. The bottom line is nobody wants to really get into that situation where they're telling parents how to raise their children. But let me just say this: if there was outward things that's in statute in Utah or any other state that is clearly seen, they should do something about it. But parenting is a very personal thing, and what they did, even though I have an opinion, some of the things, y'all, that Ruby and her husband Kevin taught to their kids or whatever that some people think is child abuse, that stuff happened to me growing up, but I never saw it as child abuse. I never had that feeling that this was some kind of bad, it was just living, being a kid and growing up. But y'all, it was back in the old days. Things that, the way that I was disciplined back in the old days, in today's time, they would arrest both my parents. But getting back to what your question was, Eric, mankind has created these governmental agencies to oversee child welfare and stuff like that, which should happen, but they're not, they're just not funded enough. They're not taken seriously enough. There's a lot of legality involved when you're talking about the rights of citizens on a state level, on a federal level. It's just really, really a damn shame that mankind can't realize that no matter what kind of overseeing agency that we create, there's always going to be people falling through the cracks. I mean, look at our judicial system. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Man's law is not God's law. And so because of that fact, man's whatever else besides law is not perfect either. And because that man is imperfect, people suffer. Women in abusive relationships suffer domestic violence. You've got sexual assault. You've got rape. You've got child abuse. The list is forever and ever and ever and ever. This goes back to the reality of what mankind does to one another. And whether, because I know it to be true, that I should just say the hell with it. I just think that it is blown up on media, on all media influence, the terrible acts that humans do to such a degree that you think there's more of it going on than it should. And then you really get sucker punched when you decide, well, really, how much of this is really going on? And then you go into the statistical stuff, start looking at statistics with in mind knowing that a lot of it isn't reported. And then it makes you really want to just say the hell with it. It makes you want to say, I'm going to stay here in my America, which is my front yard, my home. I'm going to keep my circle small. I'm not going to reach out to other people because I've seen time and time again on the news where if someone reached out to be a good neighbor to somebody and that person ended up murdering their ass, whatever. Goes back to what, you think Jesus didn't know the sins of mankind and what they were capable of? But he was willing to die on the cross for all of us. That is my belief. And although I will never, ever be Christ-like in this life, if there's anything I can do to push toward, give the effort toward putting myself aside in good and healthy ways, Not these ways where you just don't take care of yourself and it's all about someone else, but just put yourself aside to help other people. That's what I'm going to do. And I don't have to go out here and search for it to help someone else. God will put that person in my path. Does that mean I sit in this chair and don't do shit? No, but there's this there's this fine line that I keep bringing up, the fine line of this and the fine line of that. Julie Wilburn says, we need to remember enough to appreciate everything and everyone we have. At this moment in time, we don't get that back, says Julie Wilburn. Jill Schneider says, double-edged sword. We want entities like CPS to protect kids, but don't want them intruding. It's a fine line. You're right, Jill. That's a really good point. Eric says, all these Lori's and Chads will stand in front of God and answer for what they did, and that is the ultimate. I absolutely couldn't have said that better, Eric. With that in mind, there are people who don't believe in God. There are people that are agnostic or atheist, or they have other belief systems or whatever. I am sitting here looking you in the face saying this. Just because I believe the way I do, I respect and honor all people's beliefs or their non-beliefs or whatever. Because when the rubber meets the pavement, should someone not accept me or care about me or show me love because I believe the way I do? You see? It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. Good morning, Lily Jahan. So, y'all, today is September 11th. It is an anniversary. And as you go through your day, if you're willing, say a prayer or at least have good thoughts about all the good that came out of that, because there was a lot of good that did come out of it. We already know the bad. We already know the bad that came out of it. Now it's time to put the focus on the good. Let's do that every day of our lives as much as we can. Hey, y'all, guess what? I sit here and say, focus on the good. Y'all, I could go an hour, I could walk down this hallway in about an hour, start feeling shitty again. My life is far from, it's just a work in progress, y'all. And I just absolutely just want y'all to know that I love you. I care. I hope y'all have a great day. Seek out those beautiful stories of September 11th. They're everywhere. You can find all kinds of good things that happened because of September 11th of 2001. So I will see y'all again soon with Coffee with KJ. Y'all are the best of the best. I love you so much. Have a great day and keep on looking.